Hello, navigators. We are back. So, what if your partner is trustworthy, is good, provides for you, loves you very much, and is everything that any other person would describe as the best partner? But what if the same person is not able to meet you emotionally where you want them to? Because let's face it, today we want partners that are our best friends, that are our travel mates. We want providers, we want teachers, we want mothers and fathers. We want everything out of just one person. Are we not asking too much of our partners? Aren't our expectations just too high for what love should provide? This is the conversation for today, and welcome to yet another episode. And as always, I never sit alone, converse alone. I am in the company of these two phenomenal people. So how are you doing, Brian?
I'm easy like a Sunday morning.
Must be interesting.
Easy like a Sunday morning. I'm good.
Great.
I'm in a good space. Always a wonderful
Clock it. By
occasion. Hey, now you find this clock it.
Clock it, darling.
My daughter taught me how to. She was like, clock it. I thought she was like saying I talk too much, but she was like, no, Daddy, it means clock it.
But
Anyway,
clock it. You've been what up Leonard. What
yeah,
do you call
yeah.
it? You've been taught
I've
something
been
by a
taught.
child.
We learn something new every day.
I love that.
V, it's always a great and wonderful occasion. It's been a very long time.
It has been.
And bruh.
Sawubona, Noluntu.
Hello, Brian.
Hey.
Hello, Viwe. Navigators, thank you.
Chaviche.
Molweni bethunana emakhaya.
You know what? I love how you guys are just getting on with it. But before you think this is just it, there's a
Oh,
question
God.
on the table.
Yeah.
Do we expect more from our romantic partners than previous generations did? Are we realistic in terms of what what is humanly possible from a partner? Are we not maybe asking too much? And I want to maybe say, layered onto that very question, maybe expand on how you felt, you know what, yazi shame, you know? I know I'm asking a lot of this person, but I still want it. Azish, Brian, I imagine for a guy it should be easy to answer, but let's go. Let's hear
It
you.
won't be easy to answer. I'll tell you now, and I'm going to be very honest.
Okay.
According to standards, we are expecting way too much.
Okay, how so?
We are allowed to, as men, to expect way more than what was expected back then by Otatabetu, Otatomkulu from their women. You are allowed as women to expect.
I want you to make sense of it though.
Yeah,
You know, being practical.
My man,
Yeah.
you are allowed to, as women, expect more of us as
Okay.
men than what your mothers expected of their husbands and not Tatomkulu. I'll qualify this. It was very simple back in the day in Dobana. I'll make a prime example. Myself, right? Polisa, nurse, mastibane, excess tandana. Can you provide a house? Sure. Abandwana, sure. Are we going to educate them? Are there going to be cars here? Sure. That's exactly what it was in Dobana, South Tandan. Ngoku kwezinsuku, I'm glad futhi in Dobana in the intro you spoke about travel companions.
Oh yeah.
There was no travel
Vacations, they call it.
Vacations back then were Durban and Johannesburg. You expect Dubai now
Or Cape Town.
and America. Yeah, or Cape Town. Goku, America, Dubai.
Who am I supposed to travel with, Brian?
With your person.
Yes.
And that's exactly what our parents did. So what I'm coming to, V, is...
Yeah.
ndifuna uvele ndiyitshise kwangoku
Tshisa.
le ngxeleni.
Why?
Ndifuna uvele
Kaloku
ndiyitshise
nawe.
kwangoku le ngxeleni.
Tshisa.
Into yobana the expectations that are now prevalent,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
are not the same as back in the day. Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, Bloemfontein was cool then because you could drive.
I still want to have a follow-up, but I will bring you in on this. I want to say,
I'm coming there. Wait,
wanna-
how many times have you been to Dubai this year?
yes, I've been to Dubai quite
Okay.
a number of times. But wait,
Okay.
before I respond to that question directly, whether it was the old generation, Brian, but there has been an expectation to provide.
Of course.
And the travel companion has always been a constant. You know, the fact that we change generations is not materially important.
It is
Bigger
because
than-
it's financially important. The
Okay.
travel to Dubai is different to the travel to flipping Durban, guy.
Okay, my guy.
They are
Like,
past
Guys, but you also have to look at economies of scale.
Listen, economies of scale are cool. We were not allowed to travel outside of South Africa. Right now we are. And
Yes.
ladies, what I'm going to say to
But
you
can I
is
say something?
before and when
Oh,
I
okay.
finish,
Okay.
when I finish,
All right.
traveling to Dubai is different to traveling to Durban. You need a passport, but nothing. Wait. Traveling outside of South Africa, ngoku, and I'm not saying Indobana it's a problem. I'm just saying Indobana the scale at which ngoku is sihleli kuso and the expectation, which is what you asked, is the expectation way too much? I don't know if it's too much, but the capabilities are a lot. Kutravelishwa ngoku kuphunywe outside of the country. Back in the day, mchana wawuphelela apha eMzantsi. And
Are
it
you
was easier for
are you
our
perhaps
parents.
suggesting that there's more emphasis on the destination now? Because for me, if we remain at principle, whether we're traveling to Durban or we're traveling to Dubai or Australia, for me, it's I expect you as my partner to have such experiences with me.
Expect.
But still, underlying that whole expectation is a matter of it does not matter where we go, but can we have instances where we disconnect? And we find time to connect in a different place, right? I wouldn't want to expand more on the fact that we're going to Australia versus Johannesburg. For me, it's the expectation that this person now becomes your travel partner as well, right? They become all these other things.
What if you can't afford it?
Even before we get to the question of affording, because providing is also part of what we expect from a partner. But I want to maybe
Expect
say,
again.
maybe these are not my views, also navigators.
No.
Because I feel like Brian is coming at me as though these are my views.
I'm not
Have we
coming
not
at you,
accepted
Ree.
have we not accepted as society that there's a role that men need to play in terms of provision? I think we've had a conversation to that regard as well, but where the emphasis was maybe on the partner not extending beyond their means, but providing within their means, right? But not taking that responsibility and assigning to someone else, but retaining it within the male person. But Noluntu, let's bring you in on this conversation. There's this whole thing about, but yeah, he doesn't really get me, almost to the extent that now, one has to be, and I'm a woman who dates men, and in that type of scenario.
Let's just clarify.
Dates a man.
For ease of reference.
Dates a man.
So in that instance, there's also this expectation that this person has to be your friend. What are your thoughts around this concept? Must the person that you are electing to to embark on a journey romantically with also serve as that best friends, that ear that's readily available for you, that understands you without you having to talk? Must they figure you out to that extent? Is that a realistic expectation?
To some point, it is not.
Aha.
I'll tell you why.
And then she looks
I
at
think
me.
Brian and I had
And then she looks at me. And she says
because
that she
earlier
looks at
on,
me
before
like,
the show,
"Dizzy."
pre-production, we had
What
Yeah.
was that? I wasn't there. What happened? Must we bring it here?
no.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
let's leave it
We
there.
can because it's
We
at
can.
this point.
First,
Look,
let's respond to the question here.
You wear different lenses per decade you live. In your 20s and 30s, you would be, yes, I want him to be everything. I want him to be my best friend. I want him to support me. I want him to provide for me. I want him to be my shag buddy. I want him to be there whenever I need him. I want him to hold my hand. I want him to be my travel companion. I want him. And in my 40s, I wear
I
different
want.
lens.
It sounds like Viwe saying expect.
No,
Yima
wait,
diya
Brian,
zakuni.
wait. Allow me.
I don't like being
I'm
dissected for
wearing a
nothing.
different perspective. Like I'm wearing a different lens.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
And the lens I come with, and this is where we differ. You say best friend. And I say...
One of my best friends.
They don't have to be best. Best, no. They are my lover already. This is the person I'm choosing to do life with. Right? Automatically, that means at some point or at some level, there are things that are in common. There are...
Which make you friends.
Yes, which make us friends. I can settle for friendship. They are my friend. They're already my lover. I'm just now posting something bigger to say, now I need you to be my best. one of my best friends. I need you to get me. I need you to feel enraged with me.
Yeah.
I need you to be excited with me.
Yeah.
I think
Is it sustainable?
Why don't you just get yourself a robot?
I think
program that.
I think you're getting this whole best friend thing in a relationship very incorrectly, and I'll tell you why.
Let's allow Brian to maybe enlighten us on this one.
It's not a matter of I need you to, and ndicela utshintsha this conversation okanye your speech in the sense that I want, I expect. Masiqale apha.
Why are we coming guns
No,
blazing now?
no. Because it's a podcast, guys. This is what we do.
Talk to me.
No,
But
this is
Kalabo,
what we
the
do.
question
Yima.
was-
Coming to.
Would you want your woman to be your best friend?
Absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Uba ndivuka ekuseni mna yena monsam and she's on some ufuna ntoni. She knows instantly. Uba ndikhe ndathi
Akazukubuza uba ufuna ntoni. She knows. From akazukubuza.
Exactly. Now that's a best friend. Into yobana umntu xa uzavele uthi yo chomam yiza. I know that is a friend. Mamel, where I'm coming from is from a guy's perspective, right? Mna umntu endizawujola naye okanye endijola naye okanye endimtshatileyo, I want them to be my best friend because I want no other person to run to. Qala. If we have problems,
that part.
if we have problems, masincokole. Singayoleqa kwabanye abantu. That is what a friend does. That is what a best friend does. They are your advisor, they are your confidant, they are your back-to-back person, right? In a partner, I will use your words and I will use yours. That is what I want. That is what I expect. So, with Anesu, I was saying to him, chap, when I was 23, I had you, and that was my biggest pressure, knowing in Dobana I need to work, study, live to make sure that you are alive. You need to walk into a relationship knowing in Dobana unezinto zakho. You have your own house. Your finances are balanced. Do not bring umntu into your life when you are still trying to figure out ubombako. Umntana bantu doesn't deserve that. You don't deserve that for yourself. And this is a father advising a son. Right? So walk into any relationship knowing in Dobana I am financially and physically and emotionally balanced. If this person should leave, I am still emotionally balanced to continue so that I don't have to go through into this depression. So to answer your question, V, yeah, I do believe in Dobana we deserve to walk into relationships as full people.
I love that.
And knowing in Dobana your presence only augments my emotions. However, your presence it may augment my finances and whatnot because we're going to do this thing together, right? But should you leave, touch wood, by God, should you die, you know what I mean? I need to know in Dobana I'm still able to continue Ubomba. So we need to walk into relationships full. I think
I love
to
that.
answer your question.
I love that. I hear, and there's so much wisdom in what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people saying, I'm taking time to heal
Yeah.
before I'm ready for the next relationship. I think in that, for the first time, I've seen a bigger picture when you said, sometimes we leave some aspects of what we need to work on to the other person. Hence the terms, my better half.
My better half.
But in all honesty, all of us owe it to ourselves to show up fully as ourselves.
To be better.
To show up fully so that no matter what happens in any situation, you are still able to walk away fully as yourself, maybe carrying the wounds of the relationship, but not the effects of its ending.
Yeah.
And
This
because
person-
you styled yourself as a fully functional and a fully able person. And that's a challenge to maybe, I would say, from Brian to me and to you. It came from you. I have to acknowledge the source, right? Maybe to me and to you. That maybe, ladies, we ought to change the script because we have been expecting people, and I'm saying this only in one instance, I know it applies across genders, it applies to men as well, that maybe we've put up this whole expectation of people showing up for us in places where we haven't really grown much in, saying, I want a man. And I'm also cut in half in this conversation because I have so much respect for women that also know what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You see? You
So
see?
whilst I fully agree with the notion of showing up fully as somebody that is not affected by however the status of the relationship changes or stays the same, but I also have so much respect. I feel like I'm sitting so much on the fence, very uncomfortably on the fence on this one, because I also respect women that are able to say, pass me by if you're not able to do A, B, C, D, and E for me. You know what I mean? I think that for me is also a woman that has earned a voice. So that's not something we've always had.
Yeah.
Noluntu, do you want to come in on that?
Look,
Yo.
I get the complexity of it,
Kwasuka
though.
logo. Yo. I was worried about her silence. Yeah, when I go up a pay from leg.
Imagine where you're sitting on this. You know, I'm officially confused.
I believe we never enter relationships without any wanting, any expectation. The fact that you're there, it means you need someone, right? No, wait, you need to have a person. You need to have a companion. It's a need. We are never meant to journey. And I think I've said this in the show many times. We're not meant to journey the world alone. We are meant to journey it with companions. Different phases and
Absolutely.
different stages of our lives. So I believe that when we go into relationships, we have certain things that we want from the other person and vice versa. And we also have certain expectations, and it's impossible not, as human beings, not to have expectations.
For sure.
It's completely impossible, right? So we come into relationships with these expectations and with these wants, and we set the terms of the relationship. The terms of reference of our relationship will be set based on our desires and our expectations, right? And our wants. And as we journey on, we decide we either being partners for life or siyachata. That means we've agreed to the terms of reference. So if I then expect a man that's going to be my travel companion, and this tata wena Viwe khona ubheki
Chiza.
for banthathe yena to travel with me.
Chiza.
And obviously we have known each other, so we've gotten to know each other. We've gotten so comfortable with each other, right? That I already know what he's going to say. I know. When I pick up that phone to say, hi, Uzo, the first question was, when's again do 10 lizulako? No, I just had a fight with Brian. Because he is my person. There are things that I talk about, get dynamics as there to my person. They already understand how they're going to respond, right? They know, but if they're talking about Mawetukum, they can't be brutal. If they talk about Brian, they can be brutal because I can take it. I can't take it. Viwe speaks over you. Yeah, I'm just trying to say, in this whole thing of saying we have a partner, I am wanting a partner ezawubakhona financially for me.
Chiza.
That means I am not going to date someone endizawuthi ndicinga into yoba
Asikwisonga. Abe engena plan.
abe engenaplan.
I get you, but it also just begs a different question, and I'm posing this to you, Brian, at this point, that we all come in with, whether we like it or not, whether we are wholesome, whether you've worked on your self-navigators to a point where you feel so wholesome that a man can come into your life, a woman can come into your life and leave without any massive impact, right? But with all of that, wholesome as you might be, is it realistic to expect not to have any unmet desires by this person?
No.
I'm trying to
Is
get
it realistic too?
to expect not to have any unmet desires in a relationship. Now you've said A, B, C, D, and F are high priority.
Sure.
F, G, H, I, J, K, and F are non-negotiables. With all of your standards, that Is it ever practical for you to expect to get fully what you've asked for?
It's not. And let me tell you one of the reasons why I say it's not. Look, we have things that we settle for as abantu. And I'm not talking about guys or girls right now. We have things that we settle for. Siyayazi into yobana obubhanqa bona andibufuni. And I will never settle for this. We know that into yobana exit clause leyo.
I wanted to check, is that your boundary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your boundary. You walk into any situation with boundaries. It's like when you're employed, right? You have your KPAs, your key performance areas, or your key performance indicators, right? You are expected to do this.
You are?
If you don't,
are?
You are expected.
I wanted that phrase.
My man,
I want to capture it.
Anchor
I'm coming
word.
back.
No.
Expected.
In employment. I'm
Okay.
not talking about relationships.
And relationships?
I see where you're going.
And relationships?
If you walk into an employment, I work for MultiChoice, right? Key performance
Oh, of
indicators.
course. We understand in your workspace.
Key performance indicators.
back to relationships.
I had to perform to a certain level in order for me to not lose my job.
Bring it back to relationships.
Let's go to
keep
relationships.
it here.
You spoke about expectations.
Yeah.
Right? If your expectations are not met, would you stay?
No, my question, I'm asking the question here. My question is, would you expect for the partner to meet your every expectation? At least we've agreed there are expectations.
No one can ever fulfill. You can't be everything to everyone. You can be something to some people sometimes.
I want you to
You
repeat that.
cannot be everything to everyone. It is impossible. You can't be everything to someone. You can't. It's impossible.
And I want you to posture your response with what you'd said earlier.
Yeah.
About your partner being your best friend.
Yeah.
Enough for them to show up for you. Because I want to get a clarity in terms of not being everything to somebody, because we'd said, and I want you to answer this question with the utmost honesty without even trying to be defensive, but to stand for a position that if this person is my best friend, my go-to person in the manner that you described her, and now you must put that against now the later acceptance that maybe the expectation that we will show up in our partner's lives as everything is not realistic.
V, I think let's dissect this very carefully.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Your best friend. I think our definition individually as people of what a best friend is very different.
But that best friend is allowed not to meet your every need. Can we conclude there?
Dude, uweza. One of my best friends, right? I know when I can run to him.
I understand.
Right?
But do you expect him to show up for every need?
Sex? No.
Oh, well, no.
No, man, not.
No. Like, if we're gonna talk about every need, let's be.
But there's a generic
realistic.
acceptance, though.
Mamelake, here's the thing, right? Tina Singama out, we're able to say indobana, Cheriam, that's my boy. You know what I mean? But there are certain things that I can't discuss with my boy. What am I going to say about Ehlatin?
I get that. I want us to agree.
So what I'm saying is that is where the everything is. And I'm very practical about what everything is. Just because you can't be everything to someone does not mean you can't be a best friend. Right?
I see.
So to balance what your question is, my best friend doesn't need to be everything.
Doesn't need to show up in every space.
Doesn't need to show up in every space.
I love that.
However, they are still my best friend. So the expectation and denial of what I refer to as a best friend, who I refer to as a best friend, there's an emotional attachment. Okay, let's talk about relationships. There's an emotional attachment. There's common purpose, right? See, we are going around the same curve at the same time, going in the same direction, not in opposite directions. That is what makes a relationship. You said, Luntu, a want, a need, and an expectation. I want love, so love me. I need constant a constant reminder, yobana exe sisekundlela grand. That's a need. Expectation. I expect ukubana kulendo siyenzayo we have the same frame of mind in terms of where we are going. If we don't, then we are not in a relationship. We can't be best friends. We can be friends, but we can't be best friends. Ngolo hlobo lubana relationship ihlangene. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by a best friend in a relationship. Ubana, we have a common purpose. We have a common goal.
I understand.
We have common expectations. Ubana, we can't be moving back.
Get it. I wonder, and I want to pose this question further to the navigators. I'm not convinced that for relationships to happen, we must be best friends. But I also know how that feels when you are together with somebody that you actually get along on in multiple areas. So how do we put this as a standard, or is it something that maybe if you're lucky, you will be close? I don't know if it's luck even, because I think we get together for different reasons. But as you know what I actually enjoyed about this part of the conversation is because for the first time during today's conversation, Brian spoke of expectations, which I thought at some point he felt people should not expect. No. But I love how these conversations sometimes take the shape of circumstances, and when applied, because this is what I always speak to. Sometimes principles, if we stick to them at the point of philosophy, that's all they are. Up until we apply them to our daily lives, only then can we get meaning. But with these expectations now, Lundu, I now know also that this is not a 16-year-old issue. It's not an 18-year-old people issue. It's not a 21-year-old people issue. Nor is it a 25-year-old, 35. It is a universal issue that sometimes relationships do not thrive, not because the participants aren't interested nor invested in the well-being of the relationship, but because sometimes there is a breakdown in making each other understand, in communicating these very expectations. And I want to ask Luntu, in fact, let me come for you. At which point do you feel it is important for us to register quite clearly what our expectations are? Do you first figure out, because let's be real, there is that whole thing of, before I get together with him, I want to know A, B, C, D, and F. And we all know some things start as situationships. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we're heading. Sometimes it's that one night, adults, right? We know that one night where we are caught at not we're not caught at our most strong moments, and sometimes our physicality takes over. Guys, I'm not speaking. I haven't created this, by the way, so don't attach it to me. But I'm saying, with all these dynamics of how these relationships start, when do you think it's important for people to make known that these are my expectations? Do you know, when is it a wow, Brian, guys, has got a hand up.
Miss, afterwards.
I'll come certainly.
Yo.
Noluntu.
Okay. Look, V and navigators, we all have been in somewhat of those situations. But I think when it's time to sit and do the terms of reference.
And navigate.
Navigators?
No. There is the
to sit and navigate. Yeah.
I on a couch.
I want to ask.
Okay.
Do you sit? Because some people leave this to chance. Do you sit for those conversations? You do?
I Noluntu aqamba.
Yes.
Siphuka.
Chisa.
Sit.
Yes,
do you
when I
sit?
can. Me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
You have
Navigator. I think this is a question that
You
maybe
have
you
to.
should answer. Do you sit?
You have to.
Do you sit in a conversation where you are honestly so, honoring to self enough to say, at least however this goes, at least I must throw my weight in the basket to say, this is what I stay for and this is not what I stay for. Coming back to you, Lundu. Yeah.
I think everyone does at some point, somewhat point, do sit. Whether, and by sit, I mean, it's conversations that could be very random,
Random?
And, yes, random.
How
in a
serious
sense that,
is this thing?
No, in the sense that we were not sitting here to talk about where we're going.
We didn't plan to.
We didn't plan to
talk about
it. It wasn't
this.
a plan.
We just woke up together, so we're now forced into this conversation.
Sometimes it's not even about waking up together. Sometimes it's about...
How are we not planning?
I took a sip of water and this is what I thought, and now we're engaging.
And then
it's
we
random.
engage on something and we're talking about this. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way,
Hey.
where's this heading? Sometimes it's a question like that. By the way, where are we heading? Hi, Mumfundini. Or sometimes it's the guy that asks you, dude senzani. It's from that point. Yes, it's from that point where the terms of reference of what you are expecting.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I just had a thought.
Please share.
For me, honestly, for me that hasn't worked out good.
I like that reflection. And before,
sitting and
wait, let's let her air out.
Yes,
what is that
because
reflection?
If anyone has met me, if anyone has sat with me, they'll understand I'm a very deep human being.
No. Besides somebody who sat with you,
no.
Don't leave us hanging here.
No, wait,
what doesn't work for
Viwe.
you?
I'm coming. This all
preamble.
Coming together. Cook.
It's like knitting. Yes,
cook,
it's ingredients.
Cook.
So when I've had.
Wow.
Unfortunately, on the show we use words.
No, I think
what
this
is she
person,
saying?
no, because these people will know that.
Can we use words for the show?
And I never start the topic of what we're doing.
Oh,
when I personally.
No. Yes, me personally. Wait. Because I am the type of person who comes in, and this is learnt behavior, by the way, from previous experiences, because now it's been again. So now I come in and I wait and I watch. I observe. Okay. So that I'm able to pick up, is this a place where I would want to invest more time?
Can I come in with a follow-up?
Yes.
Whatever happened, no, don't say wait, let's continue. Whatever happened to good old, let's sit and talk about it first. Isn't the work too much when you are maybe sitting from a point of uncertainty, but you are inside? There are certain things that are being done. Pre this conversation, I'm saying, well, what then, becomes the value of disregarding the conversation before the situation? Because you're still figuring out, why are we not doing it old school?
Because the times have changed. We are so wired for old school, because old school would do that. Old school would define it on day one. But because the game I don't know whether the game is rigged or there's a completely different playbook to the one we used. So you learn to be fluid. You learn, guys, you just learn to move like water.
No.
Be water.
No.
Water is fluid.
No.
Can I just finish
No.
what I was saying?
No.
Please.
No.
Then, in that moment, right? It's a week we've been doing this. In that moment, he puts his terms of reference. And I'm already saying, okay, I can meet that, I meet that easily. I meet that. I'm not going to meet that. No way in a lifetime. And we agree. I put mine, and we agree. And mine are probably 3 or 4 in the list. Mm-hmm. Because, they are. I've got my standard, and I'll build from that. And...
You will?
I'll build from that.
Build what? Sana ungena so uphethe amile zika Bob the Builder.
No, Viwe. I think I'm making a mistake, guys. No,
because I don't want you to say you're being misinterpreted. And if what we are hearing is what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm also just worried. I think what comes to mind for me is concern that I think in your presentation, you were already saying he puts his cards on the table. And with his cards, I see, easily. Guys, ladies, also, I'm a mind game player. I wouldn't show,
you think like, my
cards aren't on my sleeve that much. I'm not going to be like, I meet yours. First, I want to check how can you meet mine? So yours, the fact that you have 3 or 4, I'm already like, why don't you have 10 and let him have 2 to meet? For me, it's like, I'm just worried that also as you progress, you even worry me further, because as you progress in the conversation, you're already saying whatever he is there, you'll build from it. And I'm not only putting the spotlight on you, because most of us women, we enter in situations already expecting to bring more to the relationship, to sell ourselves forward in the relationship, to make sure that we outdo our peers in that, look at me, I've got a taller structure, look at me, I have my head on my shoulders. And for me, I'm like, maybe, and it's not to say it's light to you, I want to repeat, But I want everybody through you to maybe interrogate themselves to say, when that conversation happens, who brings in iraza ne ace? Kuba no faku jump no reverse. Okay, am I making sense?
You are making sense, Vim.
Yes, Noluntu.
Okay. So if, as I was saying, right? Because
Okay.
he puts in what he wants in the relationship. Remember, we're both sitting and saying, this is what I want, this is what I'm expecting, this is what I need.
Yeah.
You are able to build between that, right? So in this case, mine were 3. Because I didn't expect much.
Why?
Because Viwe, he'd already taken...
Can we go through your 3?
No.
Provision?
No, wait. Uyazazi, but masus teta. Because there are people that are going to watch. I'm still single, guys. There are people that will watch the show. So I need my 3 must be my 3. And the fact that you guys are privy to my 3, we keep it that way.
All right, just for context, I have 20.
That's good for
Back
you.
at you.
Good for you.
And you're not
So in my 3 that I wanted, he already ticked. I had 3, ne? Dichoko.
Yeah.
Because he had already ticked most of the things that I would want.
Sure.
In the discussions we've had, in the time we've spent, I'd already seen that, okay, this one I don't even have to ask for because
It's there.
it's there. Now, the reason I was laughing about this, Didi, la 3 ndaifunai and bandis, right? Because at some point, dude says, I cannot be vulnerable, go. Because every time, remember, we enter relationships and we become the greatest saleswomen and salesmen there are.
Bro, when you walk
When you
walk into a relationship,
your biggest pitch in life is when you are entering a relationship.
Especially for a woman.
Forget work.
I've just been a woman.
Your biggest pitch in life is when you get into a relationship. I say this because it's bigger than getting it. You can have the same job for 30 years. But uzaba relationship is 25 in those 30 years. And part. Your biggest pitch is selling yourself to Lundu Luana.
And making this person like you.
Now, what I want to come back to, right? And sorry to betemlonyeni Lundu. One of viewers' questions was, Ukubana, ekaleni, do you sit down and have these conversations? You need to. Dude, I run into you at a club. We like each other. All of a sudden, we're kissing. That's not discussed, right? That's not discussed in the sense that, we like each other. Sure, now we're kissing and grand. We wake up the following morning, except now it all of a sudden happens in Dobana. We are 3 months later. I'm sleeping at your place, you sleeping at my place. Okay, cool. That's when you need to have that discussion, Dobana, except. What are we doing? Because now you are a regular feature in my life.
Guys, it takes 3 months to establish.
No, not even 3
T's
months.
and
I'm making a hypothetical example.
No, I understand, and I'm not.
It could be 2 weeks.
When I ask these questions, I'm not putting a light on anyone. I'm just saying, is this even something that we should be, allowing 3 months without certainty of where we're going?
I told my wife, every time I saw her, it's like Chatunyewen. This is now what comes as a fact. Guys, there are people out there who are intentional about relationships. They know what they want. They know what they expect. Expect.
All right. I think we all agree that at some point, I think we only disagree in terms of when it should happen. Not disagree, but we're fluid. We understand that some of us have had these conversations a bit later in their relationship. But I think there's an underlying assumption that as adults, we are all maybe aware of emotional intimacy as a concept. I think emotional intimacy allows for one to be honest in their feelings. And unfortunately, there are adults that don't know how to communicate their feelings. In that context, where do you think we would be if every human being alive was able to say and communicate without fear of being judged, one, without fear of sounding like if you say certain things or whatever the case might be, of being judged or whatever. I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say. But we also know that factually, not all of us are mature enough to carry our emotions verbally, to express it, to use language, to say, I do not appreciate A and B. I appreciate C and D. And unfortunately, mostly, and I will say this from a woman's perspective, and I could be wrong because I don't carry stats for it, but I also feel that at times it's often the men. And well, from my personal experience, because as I've said, I've dated only just men till this far. So, and up to here, I also know that I've met men that are quite eloquent in expressing.
Are you open to?
No, totally closed off.
I'm kidding.
I would rather miss out on that one. It's okay. But I've met men that are able to communicate with clarity. And I'm not saying this is only a man issue. But I've also met men that don't know how to communicate, use language, express themselves, speak about how emotional things. And yet we carry these expectations that we must get it together and speak and talk and express ourselves in that very flawed, imperfect world, where such imperfect world, where such humans exist, and they are as attractive as hell, and we do want to get together with them. Who then carries the emotional baggage of the relationship?
Look, it would be the more emotionally mature one. It would be. Because if you're in a space where your partner is emotionally immature, if I'm getting the question correct.
You are.
Okay. You, the emotionally mature one, would have to carry the weight. In the sense that in your communication, umuntu wakho must you uyamfunda. Uyazifunda nezinto, how you then have to put a point across. I'll make an example. You will hear women that say, andikwazi uthetha nto nobani xa enomsindo. I have to let him calm down or let it move. Then ndiyoyiraiza sekukudala ipoint yam. Ayibone. No, they are.
I understand.
They are navigators.
I'm just naturally shocked when I give you this. I'm like, So I'm not necessarily disputing what you're saying.
So that person is emotionally, because there are people that don't even have emotional intelligence. Or it's very low, the emotional intelligence. Ututhetha nabo ipoint yakho to say, look, this is not right how you're handling this. Seyigqwashula, seyithatha izinto, seyiphuma uyahamba. Yabona? They don't have the capacity. And asikhuli ngerate efanayo singabantu, because the experiences zethu nje masidibene in this relationship azizufana. But you would hope that me being in a relationship with you is to edify, it's to build certain things. Now you being in a relationship with me, it's to edify and to build and to educate, because what else are we doing?
Let me augment your reality, bro. Let me augment your reality.
Yeah, I have a follow-up, but it's not for you. Because I saw you agreeing with her, so I'm not going to repeat the same question, but I want to extend it further. That when you look at society, especially on issues that concern, I don't want to say dysfunction, let me say, from relationships. Some of those would be your GBVs, partners killing each other, whatever the case might be. Everything that you don't want for yourself, and for anyone that in fact, for anybody for that matter. Now the question, and I think for me, what has been a highlight throughout those was that there was dominance in one regard, maybe emotional unavailability from one side. There was unexpressed anger that was challenged, is being channeled through power or whatever the other dynamics are. And I want to maybe ask you as a man, please remember my bias earlier. I love to declare my biases, that I came from a bias that acknowledges men as less communicators and emotional,
unavailable,
beings than women are. But would you not, we are living in a world where everything, is connected.
Sure.
Some actions are actually connected. Now, would you not see it as a red flag?
Ngoba?
A partner that is unable to express their emotions using language and words. And I want to make an example with this. You get a guy that's dating a woman, and at a point of disagreement, instead of sitting down and resolving the issue, there is a bit of a purchase. The man comes in carrying a new washing machine. And you are supposed to interpret that washing machine as an expression of an apology, which is not passed using common language where the ground is leveled. There is no money that's being thrown into the conversation. Now, I'm asking you as a man, because we're trying to decode, we want to do better as society and as navigators. And that is the point of coming together.
Sure.
That when somebody is in a situation with somebody who does not express themselves using common language, but who uses things to express themselves, would you not say that human being as a red flag, or carrying, because that person cannot be a red flag, as carrying enough red flags to discourage any woman that you love from getting together with them?
We live in an age where communication is critical. Zinto zakudala, into zobana xa uzawucela uxolo emntwini, where you're asking for an apology, you buy a car or you buy roses. Dude, we live in an age of communication. We need constant reassurance, and reassurance comes from communication. I love you, right? I miss you. Joe, like, that type of thing, right? We live in that era right now. We are not old school. We understand communication and the value of communication. Sibangaka nje, as 40-plus-year-olds. So let's use communication to reassure. We need to. You can't be dependent on Indobana. Oh, I'm sorry, baby, is going to be, I'm buying you, let me book you a trip to Brazil. No, apologize. No in transgressions zakho. Apologize and acknowledge where you are. Acknowledgement is the biggest thing in relationships for me. Acknowledge my feelings, acknowledge my presence.
I understand.
Right.
And I love that.
I always say we fight to build, not to destroy.
I love that.
Right? So if we fight about the same thing constantly, we fight about Noluntu, for instance, Subana, you come home too late, Brian. Right? I need to acknowledge Londoleyo and recognize your emotions and feelings, because this is what it makes you feel. So if I come home at 9 o'clock and it's too late, I need to flip and make sure that I'm there at 7:30. You know what I mean? Because that means I'm acknowledging Indobana,
Yes.
awuthandi. And the only reason why I'm getting home at 9 o'clock is because I went out for a drink with friends. So I must cut drinking. It's acknowledging your presence and acknowledging your feelings. Now, for me, queer relationships, bruh, for as long as you're not going to acknowledge a person's emotions and feelings, then you shouldn't be in the relationship.
Great. Thank you for that one. In fact, on acknowledgement, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to counter what he says with a question. I love it. And I am of that school of thought, where people must use words. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
All these common words that sometimes aren't as easily used by other people.
Yeah.
But also there's the lady that says, yo, Ujola no Brian, dating Brian means I'm carrying a Woolies trolley and all I get is sorry in this thing, There's nothing popping. This guy is just going to be telling me, I love you. Guys, Gandhi, what's going on? Because I mean, realistically,
love.
Dude,
it's like...
So, dude, what are you there for? Is it the sex?
No, but wait for me to finish this.
Yeah.
There is a pocket of humans that feel that there should be a sorry in word, but it must also be added, the acknowledgement that you're saying. But I ask, Anna, that can't be it. It can't be closed off like that. It has to have something else, right? You also can't tell me you love me. You love me, I love that. I love you too. But you have to show that you love me.
Love is a
and
verb.
you're showing off loving me means my car must be bought by you.
Love is a verb.
It is an expression of love. How do we find a healthy balance, Noluntu, between being acknowledged as humans with emotions, being validated when we're not happy, but also with the social pressure of being alive today and the costs that come with it, and you being my man, and me forgoing all other men that have not come to me saying, I love you, that have come to me saying, I shall provide for you. Because these are all dynamics and choices that I have to zoom into or look into before I now say, Brian, you're the one. Where do we find a healthy balance?
Okay, can we agree that there are people that have been raised in such an independent, because remember, we're raising kids to be independent.
Yeah.
We were told you have to be independent.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So in terms of material things, there are people that are not phased. There are women that I've got the latest Range Rover Sport outside. I've got the house. I've got all of these things, right? What can you possibly add?
Shout out to Range Rover, by the way. We need sponsorship.
What can you possibly add that is financial
Yeah.
that I can't do myself? Can we agree that there is that, whether it's that 1% of a woman that's there?
We're listening.
Okay. And there is the woman that says, as you've said, mna ndiyamfuna usori and ke mna ke shem ndiyayifuna la moto. Yabo. So for us to even strike a balance, I would say, V, this all depends on the kind of person, one, A, you are, two, the kind of relationship or the expectations you have for a partner and a man. And if you are to ask Noluntu, what are your expectations in a partner for a man? Then it's simple. Usori makalandelelwe.
Chisa, yeke?
Show me you're sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Show me you feel bad, because
Yeah.
you can acknowledge, you can say I'm sorry and I acknowledge it. But show me that this thing actually so weighs heavy on you that
It must weigh heavy on the wallet as well.
It won't. We. Yeah.
look, if you've got the means, but that's why I
Happy
said that,
Women's Month.
look,
Must it weigh heavy on the wallet as
Happy
well?
Women's Month.
okay, I think what I remember when I recently got married, and my ex-husband would at times do gestures, ne?
Yeah.
Axolise and then do gestures.
Yeah.
Okanye, galo mina abeke ikhadi, andinalo ikhadi.
Yeah,
You can go
man,
get something.
ungumisa
Andifuna
umntwana.
ikhadi mos mna ndifuna uxolo, ndikubone uba nyani
Uyanqenqeza.
uyanxenxeza, uyayiva lento enenze kum. So I'm telling my aunts this one time. My aunt said, "Suba sisidenge thatha imali."
Oh, wow.
I feel like I wanna ask you a question with which requires for you to reflect right now. With hindsight, I always say with the benefit of hindsight.
And don't use anything you learned prior to the show to ask this
I
question.
don't know why you're going ahead of me. I don't know.
Ah,
Because
wow.
ngiyakwazi.
Is it an issue of distrust?
I love what's happening here.
Can you allow
I'm
me-
just here for this.
Whatever information you had earlier, don't
Guys,
use
I'm
it.
here for the vibes.
With hindsight, given your natural stunt that I want to be acknowledged, I want to be validated. I'm not upset for nothing. I am upset for something.
Yes.
And given his stunt of maybe wanting to throw material things to the problem, now balancing those two, because the reason why I ask, there is also the school of thought that says when women consider, this is in our naughty bathroom conversations at the gym, right? We'll speak about, my goodness, would you date him because you love him, or would you date him because of what he brings, right? There are girls who say, yes, because I love him, but there are also those that say, whether I love him or not, he's surely going to mess me up. And when he does, I at least want to be crying in some posh Cayenne.
Yes.
Ah, for
I
sure.
want to be in Dubai somewhere. These are not things that are just coming out of me. These are thoughts that are floating around and that shape society
Yeah.
today. So I want to say, with you and hindsight, you did not want the money. I do believe that whether it's information I knew before today or it's a pure assumption, but you were messed up. I don't know. I'm not saying you didn't contribute to the mess, but I'm saying you were messed up. And how do you then hold on that school of thought that says, Sanalam, work for self, be in the relationship, but make sure it's feeding more than the love, because when that is messed up, at least you want to have something to cry back or to fall back on, whether it's the house, whether it is the car, whether it's, you know what I mean? So where are you on that?
I am on that.
With hindsight and reflection.
No, with hindsight and reflection and experience, guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever want to cry in a taxi or you actually want to cry in a Bentley.
Sanalam, make your choices wisely.
I prefer the Bentley, right? I've had friends when we've had these discussions and they've said, I don't want the mansion, I want the 2-bedroom house that we started in, right? Than the mansion. And I think to myself, you've never had the flip side of the coin.
You've never had the mention, girl.
No. They're in the mansion. They don't want the mansion.
Oh.
They want the 2-bedroom house that they started with their husband.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Because they feel
things
the
were
mansion
simple.
the mansion has brought in more problems.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to go, the more you grow,
Things
the
were
more
easier.
things come.
Things were simple.
Things were
We
easier, were
loved each
simple.
other more. Yeah.
That's what, yes, I had a friend that said that. For me, it's fine. Leave me
When
the
we
mansion.
had less.
Leave me the mansion. I'll just ask you to retile it and make it warmer. Give me heated flooring. That's just my scholar.
I love
Sure.
that because it's with reflection.
It's
I
with
trust where it's
reflection.
coming from.
No. It is with reflection, with my experience that says, look, for me, it's okay. I will cry in my Bentley, and I'll make it work.
Guys, I feel like it just gets complex. We're gonna have to close because of time, not because we've run out of. Because I still have so much to talk about on this one. Maybe we'll have to come back with the second
Part two.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
part two
yeah.
to it. But
And actually, we should have Uwes on part 2. See, as was a 4-man panel.
Shisa.
Yeah.
So having said that, Lundu, in fact, let me come to you, Brian.
Sure, man.
There is the reality of lifing. I think when some of us who've gotten married before at the young age, there's this assumption. Hello,
I was
Brian.
23.
Hello. You got married twice, by the way, but anyway.
Hey, Choga, you said young. I was 23 back then.
Yes, but there is the assumption when we are younger that, oh my goodness, we're all in our 20s. And there's this dream of getting to a place better, you know, where we will both now be able to celebrate the mileage of and the journey that we've taken to a point now where we are living our best lives with our kids. But life doesn't always go as we predict.
For sure.
You know, and we sometimes, find that we are more different along the journey than we were, it was ever possible for us to know when we got together. But with that, there comes the question of ambition. Because remember, this is what we're taking from partners. Must your partner's ambitions be on par with yours? In other words, if you sit there and you're like, my goodness, I'd like to have a Bentley. My goodness, I'd like to have a mansion in Sundown. Or Sandhurst, right?
I want a Gulfstream.
And you find that you've got a partner whose ambitions are far from that. They are just appreciating the gift of life for what it is.
Yeah.
They're just like, God, the sun is out. The trees are green. Seasons are changing. I'm a lover of God's creation. I have nothing to create. Everything has been created for me. Now, that brings us to the question of ambitions within relationships. Because if you're going long term, those things should be clear, I imagine.
Of course.
What do you imagine?
From the jump.
So coming to the question more directly, should ambitions be matched between two people in a relationship?
I think that ambitions should be defined. They don't necessarily need to match, but they should be defined. You and I start dating, right? And you talk about education and how far you want to go. That's your ambition, right? I don't need to be as educated as you. My ambition is success in finances. So my ambition is finance and financial stability. Eyakho ithi education. They akunyanzelekanga bazinqalelane ambitions zenu, but as long as they are defined so that everyone knows what you're working towards. Ungathi sekuphambili, all of a sudden you discover indobana I thought you were, you know what I mean? So yonke must be, it needs to be discussed. Hence I said, indobana, when you guys decide indobana, we're going into this. And we're going in for the long haul. These are some of the conversations that need to be had. Ubana, what are your ambitions, bro? So that I can support your ambition. Ndiqhube nami into yobana ekuse uyashota kaloku kwecala. Nami ndikwazi ukuthi into yobana ekuse bhuda kaloku awukwazi ulala, funda, you have an exam tomorrow. In fact, I'm driving you to varsity type of thing. These are the ambitions that don't need to be the same. But we need to discuss them.
I understand.
And then secondly to that, Manavi, look, when you go into a relationship, right, you want someone that's going to make you laugh. You want someone that's going to protect you at the end of the day, whether it is physical protection or emotional protection. I will be your flipping John Wick and I will be your Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? I will make you laugh and I will protect you. But at the end of the day, as was the fundamentals, now I expect the same. I want you to be Josephina Wick, and I want you to be Uchemina.
I hear you.
Kerry, you know what? I want you to protect me when it comes to certain things in life, and I want you to make me laugh at the
I
end of the day.
understand.
You know
I
what
understand.
I mean? Okay.
I want us to keep it on ambition for the same reason. Yoba.
Sure.
Here is a partner of yours, Noluntu, whomst, my goodness, for here's whomst you started with, and I'm creating this as a scenario because it's not a real life situation.
Yes.
But I mean, for anybody watching this, I'm sure a lot of people can identify with it.
Yeah.
That here you are with a partner that you start off with a defined ambition, just like O'Brien has certainly outlined. Babe, what is your plan with your life? Here's my plan. How many kids? Me, these kids. Let's
Yeah.
assume you that Leonard as a couple and that much forward evolved. You
Are we even gonna have
what I mean?
kids? Yeah.
But here now life changes. Your plans come to fruition. His plans.
Don't.
Maybe you only realize with time, but actually his plans weren't properly, formulated. But at this point, you are just flourishing, Mukel. And when you set out to date, you wanted somebody to help you provide, to help start. But now the weight is solely on you because however you formulated your ambitions, things are popping for you. But for him, they're not. What then becomes is that a sign for you to stay because you are honoring whatever you said you would do, even though the situation is no longer serving your primary need of getting into a relationship. Which one then takes importance at this point? Is it the union that you committed to, or is it the new version of you? Who do you serve?
I think you said it beautifully when you were asking. Is it the why you entered the relationship? Because let's face it, we enter these relationships with certain expectations,
Sure.
right? And if that expectation is then not met, maybe mine was financial provision,
Yeah.
right? And if the financial provision is not met, chances are in that relationship, we are going to be constantly on each other's throats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And situations will constantly escalate and there will be no happiness. There will be no peace. There will be no fulfillment of anything. And then why am I there? And why are we still together?
The hell am I doing
So,
here?
so that gives you somewhat a license to redefine your ambitions, even for the relationship, to decide whether you are staying or not.
Yes.
Okay, but how is that viewed in society when suddenly, and I want us to be realistic to how life is, suddenly, Brian, I'm together with you and somewhat I am thriving. And when I look back at whatever that we formulated at the beginning of this, I see how I no longer identify with it. Now, Lundu has given me the license to say I am allowed to choose to serve me and to redefine, how the situation. But that might, in instances, result in me choosing to vote with my feet, and my feet will take me elsewhere. How is that perceived?
Never buy a woman shoes because those are the same shoes she'll walk out of that
Yes.
relationship with. Listen, and sometimes that's exactly what happens with divorce. Right? I'm going to make this very personal. That's exactly what happened with my first divorce. It was a matter of growing apart and realizing ukubana the dreams and ambition are not the same. We love each other, but not in love with each other. Know what I mean? She'll always be the mother of my kids, and we will always chat. We can always still laugh. We're still friends, right? But I made the example
Best
of
friends.
I made the example of going around the same curve, right, in the same direction. We ended up going around the same curve in different directions. She was coming north, I was going south. It's the same curve, but yeah, Charlie, and that's how divorce comes into play sometimes. But the ambitions are not the same. It happens. You need to be emotionally intelligent enough to know when it's time to leave. It might hurt the other person, but bro, you need to serve self first.
I think also
It's cold. Yani, it might be cold to the next person, to a partner. Yakubana, we are nyan. Yeah, no sharp, but bro, it's cold. I'm hurting. Yeah, but I'm hurting while I'm here. So it's time to go. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's the when the expectation is not met. And when you can see into the expectation is not going to be met, kwaseqaleni, it's time for you to decide whether or not you're going into it. And if the expectations are not being met, the discussion needs to be there.
I understand. So, navigators, adulting is indeed quite a very complex phenomenon, right?
It is.
I would love to qualify
Is
it
there a
as
place where
such.
we can resign?
Sorry?
Is there a place where we can hand it
I'll
over?
I
I want to go back to being
I have my resignation note right
11-year-old.
now in Abra. I have
don't
my
know what I've been- I don't
I
know
have
what
my
I've been.
resignation letter right now. Please,
Yeah.
can I be 4 years old and just run around and create merry-go-round, do chingy, please?
Yeah. So we will be, navigators, we will be branching out quite briefly for our Dear Us section, where we will read a letter that has been received from one of you. And thank you so much for keeping us talking. Thank you so much for your contributions and for keeping the show alive. So for our Dear Us section, Noluntu, what have we received?
We've actually received a letter. Wow, a long letter, but I just want to commend this navigator for sending it to us. And it reads as follows. As a divorced 40-year-old woman, I've been wondering why it's so difficult to start dating again. Many women my age are career-driven, financially independent, emotionally mature, and have built stable, fulfilling lives. We know exactly what we want in a partner, and perhaps more importantly, what we will not tolerate. Yet it seems that the moment we notice what we perceive to be a red flag, we walk away. Is that because we've become too guarded after previous relationships? Have our standards become unrealistic? Or have we simply learned from experience that, and now we refuse to settle for less than we deserve? Has being independent made it harder to compromise? Or are we finally setting healthy boundaries instead of ignoring warning signs? At what point does protecting your peace become self-sabotage? Are we unintentionally closing the door on potentially good men because we expecting perfection? I'd love to hear perspectives from relationship experts as well as men and women in the same age of life. Is dating after 40 really harder? Or are we just approaching it with more wisdom, confidence, and self-respect than we did in our 20s? Yo!
Phakamisa isandla sakho.
Wow, I feel like the
Lapho
conversation,
sibona.
I think what stands out for me, in fact, before I say what stands out for me, let me throw it back at you guys. What comes across strongly for you from this viewer's letter? Especially in relation to what we are talking about right now. Are we asking a lot? Because I found that it resonates quite closely with what you're talking about today. That when we in these relationships, are we not perhaps now at a point where we are insanely so affected that even our asks are just too high for any one person to meet? Are we ever going to really date after 40? She's asking Brian.
Guys, let's be very honest. In your 20s to 25, 30, kusa, your life in. Between 30 and 40, establishment. From 40, it's, if I may say so, it's Zach. I won't accept this. In life, you are intentional about what you want from the age of 40.
love that.
You know what you want, you know what you deserve, because for these last 30 years, because let's not count between 1 and 10. 1 and 10 usengumdana. 10 and 20 usengumdana. In fact, for these last 20 years, you've gotten to experience life. Ibengukusa, it was establishment. Now you know exactly what you're intentional about, because 50 is right around the corner. So to Anonymous, right? I'm 46. Turning 47 in October, by the way. 19th October. I'm very intentional about what I want in life, right? I would never walk into a relationship at my age, ngoku, not knowing what I want. Okanye not having certain expectations. And those expectations, hey man, life after 40, I'd rather have a relationship with a 38, 39, 40 plus year old. You know what I mean? Not a 20-year-old, because usa experience life lower. They don't know what they flipping want. So from the age of 40, guys, we are intentional about what we want, both as men and women, right? We would never allow ourselves to walk into any environment that we have no measure of control over from the age of 40. Itani ndiyaxoka if I am.
We're listening.
Every deal that you sign, every contract every person that you encounter or can you have a meeting with, it's intentional. There's something ezakwenzeka from there. Whereas at 20, hey, let's go for drinks, bruh. You know what I mean? We are intentional from the age of 40. So, yes, it is difficult to date after 40 because sometimes you're just not going to meet someone that has the same intentions or that is not as intentional as you. But at the same time, it's very easy dating after 40 when you are with someone that is as intentional about their life as you are about yours.
Great. Lundu, what's your views? What do you have to say to Anonymous? Thank you so much, Brian, by the way.
Cool.
Thank you, brother.
What I would say, I would advise her that it's okay to want something, and if another person doesn't want the same thing you want, it's okay to let that go. Yeah, it's okay to let that go. We are building, and I think relationships in our age are meant to be companions, best friends, as Brian puts it, and building. Already, we're not building from the ground. We've already built something. So it's about edifying, to me, it's about edifying. And that's, I don't know if I'm answering her.
Yeah. We're not supposed to be answering, and I think she asked for relationship expert advice. We happen not to be, but we only happen to be the people at the age group who may have dealt or are dealing with similar issues. And
we are divorcees.
Yes, we are. And I think from that, I want to say thank you so much for trusting us with your story. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It is not just you. I think your issue is not just isolated to you. I happen to know a lot of 40-plus-year-olds who may have figured out their lives in many other ways. But they happen, and they're very, very attractive, some of them, but they are as lonely as hell. Wow. They are living their lives without the pleasure of a companion or somebody to witness their lives. And the question that you raised does not only speak to you, it also extends for all of us to consider whether or not the lives we've lived before this moment have made us off. They've closed us off to the realities of dating today. Can you date again after 40? I think it's a personal question to yourself. And also, there's nothing that is a red flag outside you knowing it is a red flag. So nobody needs to confirm it. I do want to draw you back to yourself. You have instincts for a reason. If something does not sit right or feel right, maybe that's what you should interrogate instead of having a whole full blanket approach to the whole dating game. If it's just that one person, maybe let's limit our thoughts and assumptions to just that one person. Love is very possible at every age. I've said here before, I will die on the hill of love. Now that's where you will find me. I will never live a life. I do not intend to live a life where my life is not witnessed closely. I am for vacations. I am for date nights. I'm for all of that. And I am plus 40. So it is up to you.
Yes, we're like girl.
So I'm going to go for 1 round. 1 round, 1 minute, guys. What are we doing at this age? What?
Hey, your choice of words.
We'll keep it under 2 minutes.
No, 2 minutes is too long. 1 minute. 1 minute. Closing remarks, Brian.
So, closing remarks regarding today. I think more than anything else, we need to be cognizant of each other's presence in our lives. Be present, and more than anything else, communicate. Recognize I'm here. Act your part while I am here, and let's communicate, because at the end of the day, the only thing we can do, or that we seek to do, is to grow with someone, or to Lando we the hell of love. The hell of love is where you will die apart.
Yeah.
We need to be present. If you say you love someone, then and you see indobana it's not going the way that you want, ungamkokosa umqhube only so much before you have to let go. And choose a different stance in your life. So recognize, be present, and communicate is the biggest thing for me. Those are just the fundamentals of building any relationship. Communicate.
100. Thank you, Brian.
Look, I think to expect one person to be everything it's too much. You're not everything to yourself. Let's start there, right? And dating at our age, I think Brian said it better. You have to be intentional. We need to start living intentional lives. If you're intentional, you will, I believe, attract similar folks.
Yeah.
And when you're dating umntu or who is in your life as a partner, because you make those things clear. But if it's a continuation, then it means it doesn't matter how you communicate it. So for me, in our age gap, I would just say, we all know, siyazazi zonke izinto esizifunayo. And when you're not getting what you want, you leave.
All right, there we have it, folks. We have come to the end of today's episode. And thank you so much, Noluntu and Brian, for joining me for this beautiful conversation. We understand that we're living in a world where everything has just become so complex. We're living in the world in the digital space. We're living in the space of social media. We're living, I feel like all our pressures are absolutely magnified, and surviving such needs for us to come together and have such conversations, to grow together and to speak life to each other. So I hope with this conversation, that's what we've achieved with you. So if we date for happiness, if we date for fulfillment, maybe we ought to challenge ourselves to see what we can do for ourselves that we expect our partners to do, because it's already so difficult showing up as yourself. Imagine the pressure being put on you to show up as somebody's best friend, travel partner, companion, provider, healthcare, whatever, everything. Yazi nje kuningi bandla, but in all of that, be kind. It is a wrap.